the United States, studies suggest that 1 in 25 fathers unknowingly raise children who are not biologically theirs. Some studies estimate the incidence of misattributed paternity, also known as non-paternity events, could range anywhere from 0.4% to 5.9% of the general population. In fact, a 2005 study found that 4% of American fathers were unknowingly raising children who were not their biological offspring. Despite this being a startling reality for some, Jaxon Hayes never thought he would find himself among those statistics. A DNA test, initially thought to be a simple curiosity, revealed that none of his 3 sons were actually his. What seemed like a perfect family, 3 children, a loving wife, was suddenly shattered by a devastating betrayal. In just a matter of hours, Jaxon's entire life would be turned upside down. The discovery pushed him to the edge. What could drive a man, known for his kindness and stability, to commit such a shocking crime? Stay with us as we unravel the chilling events that led to a family tragedy that no one could have predicted. Jaxon Hayes was a man who had fought his way to success. At 54 years old, he had overcome the darkness of his past, a past defined by a single mother who battled alcoholism and a father he never knew. His biological father, the man he never met, tragically passed away after discovering his wife had cheated, a heartbreak that left an emotional scar on Jaxon for life. Despite all of this, Jaxon rose above his circumstances, excelling in school, going to college, and securing a stable, successful career in finance. To the outside world, Jaxon had it all: success, stability, and a family to cherish. Then there was Macy Rivers, Jaxon's wife of many years. At 45, Macy was a top banker, known for her beauty and sharp intellect. She was the kind of woman who could command a room with just a glance, effortlessly turning heads wherever she went. With her dazzling career, elegance, and charm, it seemed like she had the perfect life. Together, Jaxon and Macy built a life that many envied: a picture-perfect family, a strong marriage, and a future filled with possibilities. But was it all as perfect as it seemed? And then there were the 3 sons, Jaxon's pride and joy. To him, they were the light of his life, a reflection of everything he had worked so hard for. They were bright, energetic, and appeared to be the perfect children. But little did Jaxon know, the truth about his family was about to come crashing down. It was the day before their son's birthday party, an occasion Jaxon had been looking forward to, a celebration that would mark another year of joy and togetherness. The decorations were up, the cake was ordered, and everyone was in high spirits. The perfect family was about to celebrate, but what Jaxon didn't know was that his world was about to shatter in the most unimaginable way. It all started with a simple decision: a DNA test for his 3 sons. Jaxon wanted to be sure. He wasn't expecting anything shocking, but what he uncovered would turn everything upside down. A truth so devastating, so deeply unsettling, that it would forever change the course of his life. What would you do if you discovered the children you raised weren't biologically yours? Could you ever trust again? Let us know in the comments. You're watching True Crime Unlimited, where we dive deep into the most intriguing and chilling stories of betrayal, crime, and justice. If you want to hear more captivating stories like this one, hit that subscribe button now. Give this video a thumbs up and share your thoughts in the comments below. Trust me, you won't want to miss the shocking twists we have in store. Keep watching and let's uncover the truth together. Jaxon Hayes was no stranger to hardship. Raised in a broken home by a single mother who struggled with alcoholism, Jaxon's early years were filled with uncertainty. He never knew his real father, a man who had been consumed by heartbreak after discovering his wife's betrayal. The emotional scars left by his father's untimely death would forever linger in Jaxon's soul, shaping him into a man who sought to rise above his past. But despite the odds stacked against him, Jaxon excelled academically. He pushed himself to do better, to be better. He went to college, something his mother had never been able to achieve, and eventually found success in the competitive world of finance. He had overcome the darkness of his childhood and built a life that, by all accounts, seemed perfect. He was a man who had risen from the ashes of his painful past. But the skeletons in Jaxon's past were about to resurface in a way he could never have imagined. His father's tragic death, coupled with his unresolved emotions, created a storm brewing in the background of his life. Would the pain he had buried deep inside finally break free? Or was there something else? A betrayal that could destroy everything? Do you think unresolved pain can impact someone's decisions later in life? Let us know your thoughts below. Jaxon's life took a different turn when he met Macy Rivers. She was everything he could have ever dreamed of: beautiful, intelligent, and fiercely independent. A top banker at the age of 45, Macy was a woman who commanded attention. With her elegance and sharp mind, she turned heads wherever she went. Together, they made the perfect couple: Jaxon, the hard-working finance professional, and Macy, the ambitious and successful banker. Their life together seemed flawless. They had 3 sons, each of whom Jaxon loved dearly. They were his pride and joy, a reflection of everything he had worked so hard to build. They lived in a beautiful home, the kind of family that looked perfect from the outside. Macy and Jaxon seemed to have it all: a happy marriage, a thriving career, and children who seemed to be the epitome of success. But no matter how perfect everything appeared, there were cracks starting to form beneath the surface. For Jaxon, there were subtle signs, things that just didn't sit right. Still, he couldn't bring himself to believe that anything was wrong. His family was everything to him. But Jaxon, despite all his success, was about to uncover something that would destroy everything he had worked for. His world was about to be shattered by a discovery that would leave him questioning everything he thought he knew. What do you think is more painful, discovering a betrayal in your marriage or in your family? Share your thoughts in the comments below. It all started with a seemingly innocent decision. Jaxon had always been curious about the possibility of genetic connections, particularly when it came to his sons. There was a nagging thought in the back of his mind, one that he couldn't quite shake. It wasn't that he suspected Macy of infidelity, but a small part of him wondered if there was something more to their family dynamics. He decided to take a DNA test for all 3 sons, just out of curiosity, something to settle his mind. What led him to this decision? Was it his past trauma, the emotional scars from his father's death that had never quite healed? Or was it a deeper instinct telling him that something was wrong? Whatever the reason, Jaxon thought the test would be harmless. He never expected it to expose a devastating truth. When the results came back, they shattered Jaxon's world. None of his 3 sons were biologically his. His worst fears had been confirmed. His family, the foundation of his life, had been built on a lie. The betrayal was too much to bear. In that instant, everything changed. The life he thought he had was a lie. But how far would Jaxon go to seek answers? To seek revenge? The man who had once been a symbol of strength and stability was now a man lost in turmoil. If you were in Jaxon's shoes, would you confront your partner, or would you try to move on with the knowledge? Let us know your thoughts below. The hours leading up to the crime were filled with a sense of dread and confusion. Jaxon's emotional state was at a breaking point. The man who had spent his life pushing through pain and hardship was now facing a betrayal so deep it consumed him. He was devastated, not just by the fact that his sons weren't his, but by the realization that Macy had deceived him. His mind raced, emotions swirling in a chaotic storm. Jaxon decided he needed answers. He couldn't fathom how Macy could have kept such a monumental secret from him for all these years. He had given her everything: his heart, his trust, and his love. And now it felt like it had all been ripped away in one moment. As the family prepared for their son's birthday party, a seemingly joyous occasion, the tension was palpable in Jaxon's mind. He stood at the threshold of a life-altering decision, whether to confront Macy and risk everything, or to live with the torment of knowing that his world had been built on lies. He knew the party would go on without him, without them ever knowing the truth. But what would happen once the truth came to light? Hours before the party, the worst possible scenario unfolded. Jaxon, pushed to his breaking point, did something no one saw coming. His mind, clouded with pain and betrayal, led him down a path from which there would be no return. Do you think the moment of betrayal changes a person forever? Would you be able to forgive such a deep betrayal? Share your opinions in the comments below. When the authorities discovered the crime, they were met with the chilling reality of what Jaxon had done. In his rage and heartbreak, he executed his wife and 3 sons, a family he had once adored. It was a horrific tragedy, one that left everyone in shock. How could a man known for his love and devotion commit such an unspeakable act? The community was left reeling. Jaxon, a man who had once been admired, was now the face of a tragedy that no one could understand. Was it premeditated, or was this the result of years of pent-up trauma finally exploding? The police and investigators worked tirelessly to piece together the events that led to this devastating moment, but the answers were not easy to find. Crimes like this, driven by emotional trauma, are sometimes referred to as familial homicide, a tragic outcome where deep personal pain pushes individuals beyond their limits. Jaxon's story is an extreme example, but it's one that serves as a stark reminder of the human capacity for both love and destruction. But was it premeditated or a crime of passion? What drove Jaxon to this extreme? Could the betrayal have been the final straw in a life already burdened by pain, or was there something deeper at play? The answers remain uncertain, but the impact of Jaxon's actions would reverberate for years to come. Do you believe that trauma and betrayal can push someone to commit such a crime? Or is there always a choice? We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. When the authorities first arrived at the scene, they were met with a devastating sight. The crime scene was eerily quiet, but the horror of what had transpired lingered in the air. Jaxon Hayes, once a respected member of his community, had executed his wife and 3 sons in cold blood. The police were quick to respond, but the truth of what led to this shocking act wasn't immediately clear. They initially thought it might have been a crime of passion, but as the investigation unfolded, the complexity of Jaxon's motives became apparent. Detectives interviewed neighbors, friends, and colleagues. They uncovered a man who, on the surface, had appeared stable, well-adjusted, successful, and loving. But as they delved deeper, they began to see the cracks that had long been hidden beneath his calm demeanor. The DNA test Jaxon had taken just hours before the murders would prove to be a key turning point in understanding his state of mind. His world had been shattered, and in the wake of that devastation, he had spiraled into a place of despair and rage. As the case progressed through the legal system, Jaxon was charged with multiple counts of murder. His trial would be a spectacle, with public opinion divided over whether he was a cold-blooded killer or a man driven to the brink by his past traumas. During the trial, psychologists and experts were brought in to assess his mental state. Their findings would shape the public's perception of Jaxon and the tragic events that had unfolded. The key question was, had Jaxon's past, the trauma from losing his father and being raised in a broken home, pushed him to a breaking point? Or was this an act of premeditated rage? What drove him to kill the people he had loved most in this world? Do you think Jaxon was justified in his actions, or was it an irreversible mental breakdown? Was he a victim of his past, or was this a choice he made in a moment of intense emotion? Share your thoughts below. Psychologists who analyzed Jaxon's case pointed to a tragic interplay of unresolved trauma and emotional instability. One expert, a clinical psychologist, suggested that Jaxon had never fully processed the pain of losing his father, or the sense of betrayal he felt from his mother's alcoholism. These unresolved emotions, combined with the shocking revelation about his children's paternity, created a perfect storm of psychological distress. Could it be that the years of suppressing his pain led to a moment of extreme emotional release? One expert argued that Jaxon was not premeditated in his actions. He was a man overwhelmed by the weight of too many unhealed wounds. Others, however, believed Jaxon's actions were more calculated. His decision to take the DNA test, an innocent enough step, was seen by some as an indication of his growing distrust and obsession with uncovering the truth. This obsession, according to these experts, might have been the spark that ignited a tragic chain of events. The psychological analysis would play a crucial role in determining Jaxon's fate. Was he mentally unstable, driven by a lifetime of trauma? Or was he simply a man who snapped, a man who chose to act on his hurt and betrayal in the most violent way possible? As the trial continued, the question remained: would Jaxon's troubled past be seen as a mitigating factor, or would the severity of his crime overshadow his psychological struggles? Do you think Jaxon's traumatic past played a major role in his actions, or was he fully aware of the consequences of what he did? Was his mental state the cause of the tragedy, or was it a conscious decision? Let us know in the comments below. Jaxon Hayes' story is one of deep, unresolved trauma and the catastrophic consequences that can unfold when a life built on lies crumbles. Raised in a broken home and carrying the weight of his father's tragic death, Jaxon spent his life trying to move past the darkness of his past. But when he took that fateful DNA test, the truth about his 3 sons shattered everything he thought he knew about his family. The betrayal he uncovered was too much for him to bear, leading him to commit an unimaginable act. As the investigation unfolded, authorities began to piece together the truth, revealing a man pushed beyond his limits, someone whose life had been shaped by years of emotional pain, betrayal, and lies. The trial that followed became a battle over whether Jaxon was a man driven by his past trauma or a cold-blooded murderer. Today, Jaxon's fate hangs in the balance, as his trial continues to captivate those watching from the sidelines. Jaxon's story serves as a tragic reminder of how unresolved trauma, when left unchecked, can lead to devastating outcomes. It shows how a single lie, when uncovered, can unravel an entire life. Sometimes, when we think we know the truth, we discover something far darker, something too deep to bear. Jaxon's actions may never be fully understood, but they serve as a painful lesson in the depths of human emotion and the consequences of betrayal. If you found Jaxon's story as chilling and thought-provoking as we did, don't forget to subscribe to True Crime Unlimited. We dive deep into the most gripping and shocking true crime stories out there. Like this video, share it with friends, and drop your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think about Jaxon's actions? Was he a victim of fate, or was he a murderer driven by his own choices? We'd love to hear what you think. Can a life full of lies ever be truly repaired, or does it always end in tragedy? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and be sure to hit the bell icon so you never miss another captivating story from True Crime Unlimited.